We started in the fall of 2011 with a vision and an idea that the new resources in the Affordable Care Act would make it possible to link everyone in the justice system to whatever care in the community they needed, whether it was substance abuse treatment or mental health treatment or medical care for a chronic condition. And we knew that we needed all the partners in the justice system and new partners in the health system and in Medicaid that we had never dealt with before, at least not in a large scale. And so in the fall of 2011, we started having discussions with Judge Paul Biebel, who's the presiding judge of the criminal division in Cook County, who hears all the felony cases, about 20,000 cases a year, and knows the struggle for resources up until this time. And Judge Biebel agreed to convene a planning process. We sought some grant funding from the local policy foundation, the Chicago Community Trust, and in August of 2012, we started meeting as a group. And Judge Biebel invited all the stakeholders in the justice system, the sheriff's office, the state's attorney, public defender, probation, the clerk's office, everyone who could assist in this process, and also invited our large public health system, the Cook County Health and Hospital System, to participate, as well as a number of health foundations, the Cook County Board President's Office, and others with an interest in the results of this. And so we started in the fall of 2012 just talking about what was possible and what was where all the savings potentially were from the perspective of community, from the perspective of budget, recidivism reductions, what could we accomplish? And with those goals in mind, we set out to accomplish 4 things, which are sort of our guiding principles of this process. The first was to make sure that everyone who's eligible for coverage under the Affordable Care Act got covered through the justice system to the extent we could possibly make that happen. The second was to make sure that everyone was linked to the care that they need in the community, not just people in specialty programs, which tends to be how it happens before the ACA. The third was to work with the substance abuse and mental health treatment providers and the payers, Medicaid and the health plan and so forth, to expand substance abuse and mental health treatment in the community, because that's where the biggest piece of unmet need is in the justice system. And then the fourth is once these resources in the community are stable and reliable, to build expanded diversion from jail and prison to treatment in the community with appropriate supervision into the ongoing business processes of the justice system. And so with sort of those goals in mind, we started with the first thing, which is how do people get covered? So in the fall of 2012, we had working groups discussing, what are all the places in the justice system where it could make sense to do an application process. We came up with our 5 recommendations, and Judge Biebel shared those with the health system. And they came back to us and said, we'd like you to work with our process in the community for people who are in the community, and we'd really like to work with you on the jail. And so the sheriff's office and the health system and TASC worked together to make that happen. And we started that process in April of 2013 in Cook County Jail. And for a while, that was our main operative function, was enrollment, both in the community on probation and TASC and in the jail. And then we got to work quickly on, well, how do we do this linkage to care? And how do we transform the way the justice system operates with these new resources in mind? And so our next 2 projects, both of which are in play now, in practice now, one is in the courts. It's called the Healthcare Reform Ready Court, which is a court designed to take advantage of all the new resources, all the coverage people are eligible for, all the paths into needed treatment, and actually to divert people from prison using those resources. And the other is a jail to community linkage process, which is designed to get all the people leaving the jail into the care they need in the community, regardless of what status they're leaving under, that they leave with an application for Medicaid started when they walk out, and that they have a provider that they can go to that's their next step for whatever it is that they need. And so that's what we've accomplished to date. We are certainly not done. We have lots more that we want to do together. And we see this as an ongoing process. But the value of the collaboration has been, first of all, when all the leadership power was together to make decisions together, then we could overcome barriers quickly and move much more quickly than we would have been able to do if we had started smaller. And the other is that the large collaboration can help reap all the benefits for the justice system and for the county and for people under supervision in a way that a smaller process might not be able to. And so that is that's been our method, and we look forward to more.
And a big part of it is you had the right leaders that you brought to the table, and a big part of the leadership was Judge Biebel, Judge Paul Biebel, who is the presiding judge of Cook County Criminal Court. And he takes a minute and talks about why it was so important for him as a leader to convene this process.
I thought it was important because we had a unique opportunity under the Affordable Care Act to present a challenge to the criminal justice community to provide necessary services which now could be afforded because of the Affordable Care Act. Prior, about 10% of the persons in the criminal justice system were insured. It is estimated that when this is fully implemented, about 90% of the people in the criminal justice system would be insured. That gives us an opportunity to order services which can actually be provided. In the past, we could order it, and if it weren't provided, that order had no meaning.